that really like tore me up. So by the time I got from California, I was basically back on stack mode again and trying to recover from that. And my business revenue took a dip right after that too. So it was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, wow, what am I going to do, right?
Welcome to the Clean Biz Network podcast, the only place where cleaning business owners and aspiring cleaning business owners come for education, motivation, and the resources that you need to take your life to the next level. Now for your host, Mr. AJ Simmons.
What's up, CBN family? AJ Simmons checking in again for another episode of the Clean Biz Network podcast. And today, I want to talk about how to basically get unstuck, right? Like when you're in a situation and you're not really sure about what decision to make. Options. A lot of times, like let's just say right now, I'll tell you what, I use this as an example. Like a lot of you guys got stimulus check money now, you got tax money, and you sitting on the lump sum and you're not really sure what to spend it on or how to invest it. Because I know a lot of people want to get into investing. It's like, well, I don't know what to do. I might have, you might have invested in a few things in the past that didn't quite, make you rich yet. You know what I mean? So it's like you want this to be the one, right? And so you're just not sure how to invest that money. You know what I mean? So here's what I do. Anytime I get stuck with any decision. And it's this. You have to think long term, okay? Because there's a lot of options that we're going to come across when we have to make a decision. And it's like some things are going to be better for you in the short term. And then other things are going to be better for you in the long term. And then every now and then you get something that's good for you for both short term and long term, and bad for you short term, long term, right? But for the most part, it's usually going to either be better in the long term or better in the short term, right? And so in my opinion, you should always go with the decision that's going to be the best for you in the long term, right? Because that's what's going to have the longest effect on you. And so, like, I'll tell you an example. So when Christmas came, right, this past Christmas came for 2020, I kind of, I was faced with a decision. I said, you know what? I think that there's going to be another crash, which I was wrong. It didn't come yet. So, but it still worked out my decision, right? So, before we went over to California for the first time in my life. I went on the West Coast, right? Traveled to my sister in-law's house, and we stayed there for like a week and some change. And so while we were there, we spent a ton of money, right? Ton of money spent over there. Then, I decided, I said, well, you know what? Before we go and I go blow all this money, I want to do something just in case, there's another, crazy recession or something happens. I want to go ahead and pay off my car. All right. So I dropped out what I think it was like 12 grand, 13 grand or something like that, paid off my car. Because I knew that, and even though that put a real dent into my savings at the time, it was like, but you know what? Just in case it was an emergency, I lose income, at least no matter what. I know that, the rent will be paid, and at least we'll have a car. And like, even if the rent can't be paid, at least we'll have our car that can't be repoed. And actually that'll be that because the other car was already paid off, right? The truck is paid off. So it was like, well, at least we got these two cars, and if we need to downsize for whatever reason, we'll just downsize and leave this place that we rent. But I'm pretty confident with the amount of streams that I have, that at least, someone would sustain a crazy recession, and then I can just at least make the rent payments, right? So I wanted to make sure I was 100% debt free as far as personal liabilities went, right? So then right after that, I blew a ton of money when we went to California. I paid off my car. That definitely took a hit at my liquidity, right? And then when we got out to California, I had a close family member who got into some legal trouble, and so they needed to basically, and I'm trying not to say too much, but basically I had to give them a big chunk of money to help them out in the situation, right? So that really like tore me up. So by the time I got from California, I was basically back on stack mode again and trying to recover from that. And my business revenue took a dip right after that too. So it was like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, wow, what am I going to do, right? And so it was starting to feel like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have paid off that car. You know what I mean? It's only saving me $300 a month anyway. That ain't going to make or break me. What was I thinking, right? And I spent all of this money, you know what I mean? Like, what is 12? I done spent 12 grand just to save $300 a month. And I don't even believe saving. I believe in increasing. I could have took that 12 grand and put it into ads for my business, right? And so I'm thinking, having all these negative thoughts, right? But now, fast forward, what are we, 3 months later, right? 3 months later here in March, I got the money back in my account. Just had to grind through it to stack up, right? The car is paid off. There wasn't a recession. And so now I'm ahead. You know what I mean? So now I'm ahead than where I was before, but I had to struggle to get through that part, right? And so this is what I want to tell you again. Just that was just one example of how you need to think long term, because yes, it might hurt in the short term to invest that money into something. Let's just say you invested into a cleaning company, right? If you invest that money into a cleaning company, and then when you first get the cleaning company, you go what? 3 months, no new contracts, and you're getting nervous. You're running low on money. You like, Lord, I should have invested in something else, right? And then, but you know what? Then what if that fourth month come and bam, $3,000 a month contract, $5,000 a month contract, right? As a matter of fact, I just got an email from a guy who I'm scheduled to interview here shortly, so y'all be watching out for that. But he got a $24,000 contract per month. Okay, so it can happen. It can happen. He just joined Clean Biz Network not too long ago. I remember when he joined, right? So we're looking for that interview. So again, don't be afraid to, you know, think long term and make it an investment, but don't think short term, right? Don't look at, well, I'm gonna just put it into this, try to flip this money in the stock, right? I'm gonna try to, buy some, what do they call it? Short the stock, right? And try to get some options, and then I'm gonna flip this money. Well, that first of all, that's a gamble, right? You don't know what these companies are gonna do or what the market is gonna do, so there's really a gamble. No matter how good you get at being able to guess it, it's still an educated guess, right? So that's number one. But number two, that's still short-term thinking. So a stock is not a business, right? A stock is not something that you can create a system out of. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, just think long term, man. Or better yet, look at this. Or what if you buy a car instead of investing money in a business? If you already have a car, I can see if you didn't have a car at all, then that will make sense. But if you go buy a car, brand new car, just because you want to stun on people, when you could have took that money and invested into your own business, that just simply doesn't make sense. Why? Because cars depreciate in value, right? The car isn't bringing in you any income, right? So it's like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? You have to think longer term, and that's really the difference. Again, like I told you on a previous podcast, the difference between poor people and people who aren't poor is simply the range of thinking. Poor people think hour to hour, how much I make per hour, right? Middle class people think, okay, well, how much do I make per month, right? That's my monthly salary. And then the people who are more well off usually think on annual salary terms, right? And as far as their goals go, it's the same way. Broke people just trying to make it to the end of the month. I'm just trying to make it to the next payday, right? I just want to pay these bills. And what do they do every month? They end up paying them bills. They just make it. You know what I mean? Because what they say, job stands for just over broke, right? And that's exactly what people be right after they pay those bills, right? But really, as far as I'm concerned, they're still broke, right? Especially if you don't own any assets, right? Then you get the middle class. All they do is go buy liabilities, cars, boats, houses, and then they still live in check to check though, right? Then you got the wealthy who invest in assets, keep them, they keep their personal expenses, modest to a degree, but they make sure that whatever income they're bringing in well exceeds what's going out, right? So, and why do they do that? Because they plant seeds. Like I was just explaining to my wife yesterday about how crazy it is that we're living off of seeds that I planted years ago. You know what I mean? Years ago. I started selling starter kits years ago, and I used to get like maybe 1 or 2 starter kit sales. You know what I mean? Now I might get 1 or 2 a day. You see what I'm saying? And then you look at the YouTube channel. Because my kids want to, start a business so bad, and they want to. They always think about YouTube, but they can't never get into it because they trying to get paid now, right? They want to be a business. They want to make money now. And I told them, I said, listen, Daddy did YouTube for a whole year straight, didn't make a penny. And then finally, after that 1 year, and I finally did get a check from YouTube, guess how much it was? A measly $100 for all of those hours and all of those videos worth of work. And they gave me 100 measly dollars. Now, fast forward, YouTube pays me, a few $1,000s every month, right? And so, but that's because I planted the seed, 5 years ago? Or maybe more than that. I can't remember how many years ago. Okay. Yeah, that was about 6 or 7 years ago, right? So, but that's what you have to do. You got to be willing to plant those seeds and think long term, because they can grow and hatch into something. You think about Calculated Clean, the mobile app I have. I started that thing, I don't even know how long ago, and it was like 4 years ago, I think. And I put it out just as to help people. And it was completely free. Like, I'm just going to put this out here, see if I can create, see if anybody want it. Thousands of people signed up. I didn't charge them a penny. You know what I mean? Then after 1 year of, testing it out, getting it to the point, then once I finally figured out how to create a proposal generator, I said, you know what? I guess it is worth something now because at first it was just a calculator, then and a community platform. Then I ended up figuring out the proposal generator. Then I figured out how to do a walkthrough tool. Then I figured out how to do the inspection tool. And it was like, you know what? With all of this stuff, I guess I could go ahead and slap a monthly fee on there, right? But it was from a seed that I planted years ago, and then over time it just progressed, right? And so that's with everything, man. Even with the lead generation, when we first put out the lead generation service, and I know it's not perfect now, but I tell you what, we are miles ahead of where we were before. Like we weren't even we didn't even record the calls when we first started. We also didn't confirm them. So it was like when the first salesperson got the appointment, we sent it straight to the customer. Then we realized, you know what, let's confirm it after the initial salesperson, because that initial salesperson is working on commission. So they're going to do whatever it takes to get somebody to agree to the appointment, right? So I said, you know what, well, let's get a second person to see if the lead agrees to us coming out to give them a free quote twice. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, bam, now we got confirmed appointments. Then my person that was confirmed was like, hey, why don't we use these call recorders? And, you know, it's a telemarketing service. I'm like, you know what? Damn, it is a telemarketing service, right? You know, I'm just playing. I was simply just trying to create products that help people grow, because it's like, okay, well, why do people keep buying franchises knowing that the fees are crazy? And I was like, oh, because they're guaranteeing customers. Well, how can I guarantee customers? I was like, well, I can't guarantee customers, but I can get you closer to, you know, getting a deal, right? So I was like, bam, okay, well, let me try this lead generation, right? And so, again, it's just thinking long-term, planting seeds today that'll pay off later on, okay? So if you hung up on a decision right now, and it might not be how to invest, it might be something else. It might be whether you should leave or stay in a relationship, right? Or whether you should move to a different state or not. You need to think long-term. Think a year from today, then think 5 years from today, and 10 years from today, and see if the decision that you're about to make right now would benefit you in that long term, or would it make it, you know, set you back. You see what I'm saying? So think about the long term if you stuck, man. And so that's really all it comes down to. And that's what I got for y'all. I'm AJ Simmons, and y'all know the deal. If you're thinking about starting a cleaning company, go to cleanbiznetwork.com. We have cleaning business starter kits available for you that you can purchase. It has everything that you'll need in there. Then also we have our lead generation service. Go check that out at cleanbiznetwork.com. And also our mobile app, Calculated Clean, okay? And some changes will be coming to Calculated Clean soon. We're going to add a community feature back like we used to have, but it's going to be way, way better, y'all. I got some stuff cooking up for y'all, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, thank y'all. I'm AJ Simmons. I'll talk to y'all later.
Hey, entrepreneur. Now, you may be listening to today's podcast episode, and you may be super pumped up and excited, and you may be asking yourself, how can I get my business started today? How can I get going today? Well, I'm here to tell you that cleaning business starter kits are available at cleanbiznetwork.com. AJ Simmons and the Clean Business Network have designed these amazing starter kits for entrepreneurs like yourself to get all the knowledge, okay? All the tools, all the resources, all the coaching, all the access to other successful commercial cleaning business owners you need to get the motivation, the knowledge, the resources, and tools to launch your business today. Log on to cleanbiznetwork.com to get more information about the cleaning business starter kits.
Thank you for listening to the Clean Biz Network podcast. To start and or grow your cleaning company, visit cleanbiznetwork.com.